Welcome back, everybody, to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. Today, we're going to be starting up case number 4, Turnabout Beginnings. This is a pretty short one, actually. Girl, let her go! Shut up! Come closer, and I'll kill her! Sorry, but you're not going to get the chance. Well, that's mysterious. Just what the hell, man? I'm reading through the file of an old court case. It was the first case of my longtime mentor, Mia Fey. Interesting. Her very first client was a death row inmate who had recently broken out of prison. That was a whole year before Mia and I ever met. So much like Case 1, this is also told in Flashback. And should be noted that this is, out of all the games of the Ace Attorney series, this is the only non-tutorial case without an investigation chapter. Just thought I'd throw that in there. I'm so nervous. I feel like I'm gonna die. I never should have accepted this case. Good morning. Don't be so chumpy, Mia. I didn't do nothing, I swear, I didn't kill nobody! Terry Falls, my first client. Sentenced to death 5 years ago, and now a prison escapee. Just relax, Mia. Make small talk and try to relax him. So why did you escape anyway? Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't do nothing, I didn't kill nobody. I never lie, I didn't escape from nowhere. But, Mr. Falls, the police just recaptured you 2 days ago. Sorry, I told a little lie. Oh boy. But anyway, I didn't do it. I never killed nobody. I'm sorry for asking, but you're on death row, right? Oh, not again. I'm really sorry. They sentenced me to die 5 years ago. But I was tricked, I tell you. That woman, she lied in her testimony. That's why I got the death penalty. I swear it, I didn't kill her. I could never do that. 2 days ago, he escaped from the police wagon when it crashed. Then about 8 hours later, a policewoman was murdered before the police could recapture him. The police believe that Terry Falls did it. After you escaped, did you meet a policewoman? Yeah, I did. She's the reason I escaped. So that much is true. He did meet with the victim. But I didn't kill her. She was alive when I left. She was alive. It's true. I can trust him, right? I mean, I should. Huh. You're not going to figure out the truth just by staring at the guy. Why are you here? I came to see how our little kitten was doing all alone in the big, scary lion's den. I thought maybe you'd like someone to play with. Where's Mr. Grossberg? Ha! That old man is probably still in bed. I bet he's clutching an empty bottle and mumbling in his sleep. Aren't I good enough? After all, it's me, Diego Armando. I didn't say... So, Diego Armando, the finest attorney at Grossberg Law Offices, is here for me? No, you've got it all wrong. Today you're the finest. After all, it took an amazing amount of guts to take this case. Imagine, an escaped death row convict for a first client.
Yeah, thanks. I sure wish I could get out of it, though.
Ha! Relax. I just heard some good news. The prosecutor for today is fresh out of his diapers as well.
Really?
However, unlike a certain somebody who I won't mention, he's earned the reputation as a genius since beginning his law career.
Genius?
Well, it's about time to head in, kitten. Sharpen those claws of yours, it's go time.
A solitary confinement cell for the condemned must be the world's loneliest place. And that's what my client ran away from. Every other lawyer gave up on him, but not me. When I saw those overflowing eyes and heard that simple, childlike voice, I just had the feeling that he was telling the truth.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we played the second trial, and Mia was all like, I really don't want to go back in this courtroom. So let's figure out why.
Court is now in session for the trial of Terry Falls.
Defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor.
I understand the lawyers for both sides are newcomers.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm Mia Fey.
Miles Edgeworth, Your Honor.
So you're the new prosecutor everyone's talking about, eh? They say you joined the prosecutor's office at quite an early age.
At 20, Your Honor. I guess our little kitten hasn't earned herself much of a reputation yet, huh?
Come on, Mia, you can't lose, not to someone younger than you.
Huh.
Young people running a trial. I'm not too sure how I feel about that. Now then, the defendant in this case is currently a felon on death row. 2 days ago, he escaped from a police wagon, is that correct?
Precisely. But the defendant is not on trial for escaping prison. On the day that the defendant escaped, a policewoman was murdered.
So we're here to determine if Mr. Falls was responsible for her death.
You got it, kitten.
Well then, Mr. Edgeworth, let's hear your opening statement.
Yes, Your Honor. It was 5 years ago. The defendant, Terry Falls, was sentenced to death in this very court. His crimes were kidnapping, extortion, and murder. The girl he threw off the bridge was only 14 years old.
A truly horrible crime. I remember it well. There was no decisive evidence, so the trial was long and protracted.
Correct, but in the end, what finally decided the case was a certain witness's testimony.
A witness's testimony?
The testimony of Detective Valerie Hawthorne, the person who confronted this criminal. She arrested Mr. Falls at the scene and later testified against him. She said she witnessed Mr. Falls throw his young victim into the river. For those who are not aware, Eagle River is well known for its powerful current. Most bodies that fall in are never recovered.
So Miss Hawthorne's testimony was the one that put him away.
That policewoman you just mentioned, that wouldn't be...
Exactly. The victim. The same woman that was killed 2 days ago. Police Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne.
Ah, I see. The man who was sentenced to death based on a testimony escaped 2 days ago, with only one thing on his mind, to take revenge against the woman who convicted him.
Huh.
Aha! The truth is becoming clear to me now.
Huh?
Yes, yes. It's quite obvious that the defendant is guilty.
Wait a minute, that's not right. At least hear the case before you decide on the outcome, Your Honor.
Watch yourself, Miss Fey. I'm not sure I care for your word choice or your tone of voice.
Young people these days simply don't know how to respect their elders.
Why you? You're even younger than me, you hypocrite.
Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, please call your first witness.
I call the detective who was in charge of the initial investigation of this case. Oh hey, it's that guy. Witness, state your name and occupation.
Gumshoe, Dick Gumshoe, I'm the homicide detective in charge of the case, sir. I finally got promoted to the detective division half a year ago. I don't believe anyone asked you about that. Hey, ma'am, you got any idea how much work it takes? What is it? You're really gorgeous. Excuse me? No, seriously, my heart's aching for you.
Detective, pull yourself together and try to be professional. Otherwise, I'll write you up on contempt so quick that something other than your heart will ache.
Okay, I got it.
No, Detective, tell us about the incident.
Yes, sir, right away. The victim was Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne, a veteran on the police force. She was stabbed in the back with a knife and died from excessive blood loss.
That much is already stated in the autopsy report. The court would like to hear more details about the incident itself.
Yes, sir, I got you. Okay, let's take a look at this aerial map of the area here. This is a sketch of Dusky Bridge, an old suspension bridge. And the river that runs under there is Eagle River. The victim and the defendant met there, on top of the bridge. After stabbing her in the back, the killer carried the victim back to his car. He was recaptured at a police checkpoint as he was trying to make his getaway, sir.
I see. Was the victim's blood found on the bridge?
The victim, Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne, was wearing a thick coat, sir. Unfortunately, no traces of blood were found on the bridge.
Mr. Edgeworth, I warn you that I absolutely despise conjecture. If there was no blood on the bridge, then you have no proof that they even met there.
Your Honor, if you would listen to the testimony we have prepared, I'm sure you'll be convinced. The two of them most certainly did meet on the bridge that day.
Why, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm not sure I like you wagging your finger at me as though I was some hoser. Detective, proceed with your testimony.
Yes, sir. Here we go, Mia. Hang on.
Okay, now listen carefully, kitten. One little mistake and this guy will drink you for morning tea. Trust me, and get ready. Alright. So we're finally getting some fucking testimony here.
On the day of the incident, an unknown person phoned the sergeant and asked to meet. Sergeant Hawthorne went to Dusky Bridge at the designated time and met with Mr. Falls. And that's where she was brutally murdered, sir. The criminal stuffed her body into his car trunk and tried to make a getaway. Mr. Falls was arrested at a police checkpoint we set up at the base of the mountain.
Well, you certainly have established the importance of the bridge.
Naturally.
Now, would the defense please hurry up and proceed with the cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor. Cross-examination. Coming right up.
Hey, settle down there, kitten. If you keep trembling like that, you're gonna make me spill my coffee.
I'm not trembling. It's just cold in here.
The courtroom can be a cold battlefield, all right. Especially for a beginner.
I don't need you to worry about me. I mean, the defendant, the witness. Everyone's a beginner in here.
Huh, you got me there. But maybe you should keep your claws out and show them what you've got, kitten.
It's okay, Mia. Stay calm. Just remember those court procedure videos you stayed up all last night watching.
Yeesh.
Hold it! This unknown person. You have no idea who it might be, right? Sorry, but I'm afraid I do. What? The one who called Sergeant Hawthorne was the defendant, Terry Falls.
What? The defendant? The defendant called her?
Sergeant Hawthorne was a very thorough person, sir. She left a note about a phone call with Mr. Falls. A note? Yeah, a top-secret memo that she left on a desk.
according to this note, it seems the one who called her to the bridge was indeed the defendant, Terry Falls.
Whose bright idea was it to keep that note from me?
Huh, looks like the judge is even more sure of his verdict now. Listen up, never ask a question if you don't already know the answer.
It's that detective's fault. He's the one that said unknown person.
Hey now, don't make that face at me. I just said it that way because the prosecutor told me to.
Was that a trap? With that cute face, I didn't expect him to be so sneaky.
Okay.
Hold it! Mr. Falls had a car then?
Well, that bridge is way up in the mountains, ma'am. The defendant and the victim both went up there by car. I mean, how else, right?
What? You mean the defendant drove his own car?
No, of course not. It was stolen. He stole it from a young couple that had been waiting at a red light.
Car thieves. I'm not sure how I feel about car thieves.
Is this guy sure about how he feels about anything?
This is a photo of the stolen car's trunk. Naturally, that's the body of Valerie Hawthorne in there.
Whoa, that doesn't look too comfortable.
The victim, she was stabbed in the back, correct?
Yeah.
Huh.
For some reason, men always seem to get stabbed in the back.
We're talking about a woman here.
You can't tell from this photo, but the knife was stuck in the back nice and firm.
The condition of the body when it was discovered is very important information. Detective, was there anything strange or noteworthy in the trunk of the car?
Here's a photo of the trunk, but I don't see anything strange. Do you? You know what? I do. Just take a look at this victim's note. We will have to refer to this several times, but...
Objection! Witness!
What is it? Do you have something to say, Miss Faye?
I'm sorry, I totally forgot what I was gonna say. This is the first time I've ever had to actually address someone like that.
You should have practiced before coming to court. Honestly, Miss Faye, I'm not sure I like this.
Say there, little kitten, want a piece of my coffee candy?
Candy?
Well, you're still too young to be drinking real coffee.
Come on, Mia, shake it off. You're a lawyer. Detective.
Yes, ma'am?
This photo. You said that there was nothing peculiar about it. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Well then, I suggest you take another look at the note written by the victim.
Nope.
It very clearly says, wear white scarf for identification. The caller must have forgotten what the victim looked like. Thus, this special request.
I
have one very simple question for you, Detective. Where is the white scarf? I can't seem to find it in this photo.
Well, to be honest, we didn't find it in the trunk, ma'am.
And you stopped there? You should have looked for it.
The caller told her to wear it to identify herself, so I expect she did just that. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do you have to say about this?
I see the defense is a little lacking. The scarf you're searching so desperately for, is it this one, perchance?
Ah! Where'd you find it, sir?
On Dusky Bridge. I was there first and decided to conduct my own investigation.
Why? Why didn't you tell me?
I made a decision to keep all pieces of evidence in my personal satchel. It's the safest place I know. That hotshot sure has a flair for the dramatic. It's not exactly white, as the color requested, but as you can see, it's close enough for what it was intended for.
It looks like it spent some time in the mud.
Not surprising, it was drizzling on the mountain that day.
Prosecutor Edgeworth. He was intentionally hiding that scarf the whole time.
The court will accept the scarf into evidence.
Now, if the attorney for the defense has finished embarrassing herself, I'd like to move on with the testimony. That is alright with you, isn't it, Miss Fay?
Boy, would I like to wrap this scarf around his smarmy little neck.
Very good. Now, if we're done with this mud-covered scarf business, the prosecution moves to establish conclusively and with hard evidence that Miss Hawthorne and Mr. Falls did indeed meet on the bridge that day. Further, we will show exactly what occurred there.
That sounds quite promising. I can't wait to hear all about it.
Everything is moving at his whim.
Don't forget, kitten, there's a reason why everyone considers this kid a genius.
A genius, huh?
Alright, let's give this thing a shot.
Actually, there's an eyewitness who was there when the incident took place. This photo was accidentally taken by the witness. It shows her wearing the scarf, sir. It was drizzling that day, unfortunately. It's a little hard to see what's going on. Anyway, the criminal shoved the victim down from behind and stabbed her in the back. That must have been when the scarf fell off.
Looking at this photo, you really get the sense that this bridge is very high up.
It is about a 40-foot drop from the bridge to the Eagle River below.
Mr. Edgeworth, who took this photo anyway?
Let's just say that it was a well-intentioned third party.
A potential witness. So why isn't this person in the courtroom?
Well, they said they absolutely did not want to testify.
The person in question is very delicate, Your Honor. Besides, as long as we have this photo, we see no reason to compel her to testify.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
So, as you can see, Terry Falls had both the motive and the opportunity. I think it's quite clear at this point what happened on that bridge.
The truth is becoming clear to me now.
Huh?
Yes, it's quite obvious. He's clearly guilty.
Not again. That's not fair. I haven't even done my cross-examination yet. What do you mean,
This makes no sense. Objection!
So at the time of the crime, there was a light drizzle coming down, correct?
Yeah, and fog too. Just a generally soggy atmosphere.
Well, I have evidence that doesn't go with the soggy atmosphere.
This is a photo of the victim's body that was found in the car trunk.
Considering the conditions at the scene of the crime, something isn't right.
Well, by all means, please enlighten us as to what isn't right. What is it about this photo of the trunk that doesn't fit with the conditions that day?
It's the coat.
Naturally, the answer is right here.
The victim's coat? As far as I can see, there's nothing strange about it.
That's exactly what's strange. Remember the testimony. What were the conditions on the bridge that day? It was drizzling and foggy. Dusky Bridge was all wet. If the victim really had fallen down on her stomach on top of that bridge, then the front of her coat should have been covered in mud.
That's exactly right. The other day, I fell on a muddy street, and my gorgeous playoff beard was befouled.
I do admit that the crime scene was quite wet that day. However, that doesn't mean that the top of the bridge itself was muddy. If Your Honor had fallen in the shower instead of on a muddy street, his glorious hockey beard, pride of the legal league, would be wet, but not muddy.
Fortunately, I have yet to test that. Still, your point is well taken.
Can you prove that the surface of the bridge was muddy that day?
Surface of the bridge, huh?
Ha! A real man wouldn't stand for a taunt like this.
Neither would a real woman. Of course I can. Here's the evidence that proves the surface of the bridge was muddy. Take that! The evidence is this scarf.
Ah!
It should be obvious. If the scarf fell onto the bridge and got this muddy, it means that the bridge was obviously covered in mud.
No, I can't be outwitted by this novice bimbo.
Hey, same to you, buddy.
Miss Faye's assertion makes perfect sense to me.
I do admit that there appears to be a contradiction between the condition of the victim's coat and her scarf. However, the real question is, why is there a contradiction?
Huh?
For every contradiction, there exists an explanation. Let's look at the explanation in this case may be, shall we?
Alright. It's not like he's really giving me a choice here.
Ha! You're doing pretty good for a little kitten.
Mr. Armando!
No matter what he says, a contradiction always comes down to a lie. It's either the victim discovered in the trunk, the witness's photos showing the defendant and the victim, or the witness's testimony that stated she saw the moment of the murder. Just relax and think it over. It's pretty simple, isn't it? The false evidence is one of those three.
Huh. What you said just now, I'm not sure I like that.
It wasn't me, Your Honor. It was the coffee aficionado over here that said it.
This court is not in the habit of accepting false evidence, you know.
Blame it on him, Your Honor. He's the one trying to slip false evidence into the court. But we won't let him. We'll expose his evidence as the flimsy scam it really is.
Yes! The false evidence in the case is the witness's testimony. It is a no-brainer. Obviously, it's the witness that's suspicious. During his earlier testimony, the detective pointed out a crucial fact. The criminal shoved the victim down from behind and stabbed her in the back. Now, is that testimony exactly what the witness claims to have seen?
Yeah, that's what the witness told us.
That testimony is filled with holes. After all, the victim's coat isn't dirty at all.
That's true.
Ha! It's not just true, it's the truth. If there was a truly decisive witness in this case, I'm certain that boy Wonder over there would have called them in the first place.
Your Honor, the defense requests to cross-examine the eyewitness. The testimony presented so far is not only vague, but contradictory as well.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, it appears that we'll need to hear from your mystery witness after all.
You should brace yourself for the brutal truth. Your Honor, the prosecution has no intention of hiding the witness from the court. We are prepared to present our witness at any time.
Very well. Please bring forth your witness at this time.
What Mr. Edgeworth said kinda worries me. What does he mean by the brutal truth?